So esteemed audience knows I have to ask because I ask everybody. John Gallagher, have you ever seen a flying saucer and or a ghost?
No. No, actually, I've never seen a flying saucer. I will say this. I can't remember it, but when I lived, when I was 5 and 6, around the time of the comics, apparently my parents were selling their house, and I used to talk about my friend Boing Boing, who was a ghost, I would say. I don't really recall this, except I was pretty adamant that I had a ghost for a friend. And when people came to buy the house or came to look around the house, they were looking around. They're like, "Oh, this is nice." And I said, "Here, I'll show you where the ghost lives." And apparently they wouldn't let me be at any of these open houses from that point on. So perhaps, I will say I'm very open-minded about it. And when I was from 11 to about 15, all I dreamt about was seeing a flying saucer or a UFO. That would have been, and I'm so excited even that NASA may find life in the atmosphere of Venus or under the surface of Mars. Like, just knowing that there's other life out there would be, it's something I hope I get to experience before I die.
Oh, wouldn't that have been a great day? You get to be Robin with Batman, and as you're in the Batmobile, there's a flying saucer. Now I have everything.
Now wait till I tell my ghost.
Well, where did our time go? I know we had an internet interruption. It always flies by, and this particular episode has flown by even faster because we're talking about everything that I love. But I want to be respectful because I know you've got more events tomorrow. So thank you, John, so much for making the time this evening. And I'll end with this final question, and we'll call it a night. Okay. My final question is always some variation of, if you could go back to the start of your career or wherever you like in your career and give yourself some advice that would have made a significant difference for you and might make a significant difference for everybody listening or watching now, what would you go back and tell yourself?
I think I would say, it's funny because I actually saw somebody talk about this online today, and not this question, but what would I tell my 15-year-old self, although I was doing this later, is it all works out. And really just, stay the course, because there have been times in my life where I sat there and thought, I have spent thousands of hours doing this, and I could have been doing something else. There are times you feel like you're wasting your time. Like, I had more rejection letters sent to me from comic book companies, and I've had, plenty of rejections from publishers over the years. It's a long road, and there are times where I regret it. I was like, this has been a waste of time. I could have been spending more time with my family, or, but just knowing that, tell myself it works out, And again, even if I never published with a larger publisher, or even if I never have great success, just the act of creating is important enough. So it works out.
Wow. Quick follow-up then. We get to an Avengers Endgame style, where if Doctor Strange tells Tony Stark the advice that would make a difference, it doesn't work out the way it's supposed to, and the universe doesn't work. You think there's a chance if you go back and you tell yourself, and you just calm down and say, "Oh, okay, it works out." Well, I'll wait here. I bet it's gonna happen.
Maybe I would tell myself to get a little more sleep, because I think I drew myself into oblivion a couple times.
Maybe when we find out the multiverse is real, you can go to the universe where that did happen and ask that John Gallagher, how did it work out? And then you'll know.
Right. You hosed me, man. That was terrible.
I was going to work so hard. You told me that it was going to be fine. I just sat around.
Just sat on a bag chair watching MTV.
I bet greatness will be along. It hadn't happened yet, but I'm waiting.